This is the XRP 1 month overview reading for the month of July 2025. It's currently June 27, 2025, 10:21 p.m. Eastern Time. XRP at the time of this reading is $2.18, just under 19 cents USD. The shuffle video for the XRP July reading was created on June 5th, 2025 at 11:11 p.m. Eastern Time. That's this video playing for you right here. So what we'll cover in this video will be the overall trend direction and chart behavior for the month of July for XRP. We're going to give you chart behavior to look out for XRP's highest high and lowest low in July. Or July's highest high and lowest low, I should say, to be clear. We're going to give you the day-by-day sequence of chart events. And then we'll even give you one of the best trades that we see for the month. Generally speaking, these trades are on point, guys, but I do not recommend trading this information alone. It's a lot more tricky than you would expect because we're not using price levels. We're using chart behavior, and it's important to understand these cards going left to right across the screen. That's the sequence, the day-by-day sequence of chart events, which I'm going to get into for you. But because not each card's energy will necessarily line up perfectly with 24 hours of time, there are cases where these 1 month readings, you're going to need to give them plus or minus a couple days of wiggle room. In a bad crypto, it could be like 4 or 5 days of wiggle room in some cases, but very rare. The point is don't trade this information alone. You must have access to our live Discord trade alerts and live trading view chart drawings where we actually draw entries and exits for you ahead of time and in real time. Game-changing services and necessary if you expect to make consistent gains with this information. It's the most accurate and detailed information form of analysis that you will ever find in the world. But I've been doing this 26 years, so benefit from the lessons I learned making mistakes on my own. With that said, I'll show you how to get those game-changing services at the end of the video. Let's get into it. So the overall trend and chart behavior for XRP in July, there's a prominent move higher through key resistance on at least a 1 month scale, like a multi-day chart, probably relevant on it could be even like a year. We're breaking through key resistance, staying above it briefly before breaking back down through that same price level shortly thereafter with a full retracement. It's within close time proximity to an important trough on a multi-day scale. Everything in this reading will be on a multi-day scale with 1 day candlesticks unless otherwise specified. But there's an important trough in there in the midst, or probably two important troughs, I should say, in the midst of that back and forth behavior. Behavior around the highest high, an unexpected move to the upside. So that could mean that there's some sort of unexpected event or news. I'm guessing, I'm picking up on unexpected headline of some kind. Either that or it could be like some really tricky, scary chart behavior and we're going south and then unexpectedly there's this huge move to the upside, something like that. But it'll come very unexpectedly. Now, near the lowest low for the month of July, we have an important peak that'll be within close time proximity to it, so within a few days, generally going from like the peak to the low, or from the low to the peak, probably from the low to the peak. Either way, often when you see that abundance card in the low significator, it's an important peak after making new lows. It's not the most natural place for that card to be, but generally speaking, there's going to be a big move to the upside, possibly even like a breakout out of the low of the month. Now, I'm going to get into that day-by-day sequence of chart events and give you one of the best trades that I see for the month. But before I do that, I just want to make sure that you're all aware. The whole purpose of the channel is to transmute some of the competitive energy of the stock market. When I was on Wall Street and I had a near-death experience, my third eye busts wide open. And I knew that there's a reason for everything. So what was the reason that I was on Wall Street? Like, I didn't belong there. It was very clear. I was very good, but I didn't belong there. And it occurred to me that it was to help transmute the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. Imagine if everybody took a portion of their profits from the stock market on every profitable trade and donated it forward, how much better the world would be. So you follow the rule of karma for the channel by going to the resources tab of our website, Channel for Traders. 5% of all profits should be donated forward to one of these charities or a charity of your choosing. The point is to show your faith in more to come by paying it forward and helping somebody else in helping somebody in need, maybe that it didn't outright ask you for it, pay it forward. And the other 5% is back to the channel through one of these links. It's a way to say gratitude. Both of these are necessary components of wealth mentality, which is necessary for you to manifest wealth and profits consistently. So it's built into the system. It's an honor code agreement between anybody using this information for gain and the people creating this channel, because there's a whole team of us guys, not just me pulling rabbits out of a hat. With that said, leaves you with 90%. Make sure to spend that 90% out of love. Following those rules makes you an angel investor of the channel. I'm gonna come find you. I'm gonna want to know who you are, and I'm gonna want to know what you're about. So let's get back into it now. The day-by-day sequence of chart events. So it looks like in July 1st, there's an important trough on a multi-day scale. Everything will be on the scale that I speak about. It will be on the scale of a multi-day chart with one-day candlesticks, unless otherwise specified. And it looks like that trough is likely coming. So there was like a breakout the last day of June, and then probably there's like a peak that forms right there. We break it back down through it into a trough around the end of the day on the 1st, and then there's a lot of price swinging going on there between the end of the day on the 1st and actually like just the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd. A lot of price swinging going on there, prominent peaks and prominent troughs. And then a rally that turns over on the 4th. Let me back up. On the 3rd, there's a peak that forms near a key resistance level on a multi-day scale that we will decline from and then return to in the not too distant future, probably on like the 5th. So good, marks for a good trade. I'll probably utilize that at the end of the video. I'll talk more about that. Rally turns over on the 4th, creating a crest, and then a big move to the upside on the 5th into a prominent peak, reaching for a distant resistance. Rally increases with momentum moving forward in time. It looks like probably 2 peaks, and then by the cusp of the 5th, 6th, we have a pretty significant move to the downside into key support on a multi-day scale. With a little bit of a rally to the upside at the end of the day or early in the day on the 7th, but that rally is halted by a decline through key support. Some flat behavior taking place around the 8th. Might even be a bit of a trough in there, but that's before a rally into an unexpected move to the upside into key resistance. We have a failed attempt to break through key resistance on the 9th at a prominent peak, followed by a decline through key support. Probably a notable price swing in there on the 10th between 2 peaks, a peak on the 9th, a peak on the 11th, and some sort of significant opportunity and out of a trough, move to the upside most likely into the 11th where there's another peak. We're bound by the upper end of a range there. Brief peak that's easily missed, followed by a decline through multiple supports take place on the 12th. And then out of that decline, a rally along a diagonal trend line into the 13th. That rally ends with a fast sudden move higher, and then a breakdown through that diagonal trend line with increasing volatility on the way down into the 14th, where we see another prominent trough. And out of that trough, sideways fluctuating rally, breaking through key resistance, staying above it briefly, then breaking back down through it shortly thereafter, probably with a full retracement, taking us into sideways rotation at key support on the 15th. That sideways rotation ends with a fast sudden move higher. Careful on the 16th. It could start as early as the end of the day on the 15th, but on the 16th, there's a unicursal hexagram. So probably a pretty sharp decline in the midst of some significant volatility around the 15th, 16th, and then the 17th. Sideways rotational on key support on the 17th turns into a breakout into a key technical price level on the 18th with a breakout through it early in the day. And then we probably come back down below it, creating a peak there on the 18th. Come back down below it and then have multiple failed attempts to break through that same resistance on the 19th with a peak at the end of the day, not as high as the peak on the 18th. And then that peak, we sell off from that on the 20th into sideways rotation at a significant trough on the 21st. Sideways rotation ends with a fast sudden move higher, taking us into a failed attempt to break through key resistance on the 22nd. That failed attempt we'll expect to break through based on the sideways rotation signaling some sort of support had been met, but it was falsely. Because we turn around and rather than breaking out through the resistance on the 22nd, we decline through key support. Decline then is matched by a rally on the 23rd that's fully retraced. So a prominent move higher and then a full retracement on the 23rd. On the 24th, some sort of tricky chart behavior. I'd be very careful there. Multiple false tops or bottoms, or some back and forth behavior. Whatever it is, be very careful not to do the wrong thing there. There's a resistance level on the 25th that's highlighted that we failed to break through many times before, and or will fail to break through many times before in the future. A decline from that resistance into the 26th, where we break down through 2 support levels, rotating along the second support level before a breakout to the upside towards the cusp of the 26th, 27th. We bump along resistance sideways. Don't chase that rally. We bump along resistance sideways. We might break through, but don't chase that. It turns into price swings on the 28th. Towards the end of the day, don't chase the move to the upside either. There's another swing to the downside on the 29th. Sideways fluctuating decline preceding a notable move higher on the 30th. Where we push the upper end of a range higher into another peak early in the day on the 31st, and then there's a significant decline off of that peak on the early in the day on the 31st. A lot of price change there on the 31st, and likely an exit from a short position, which I may or may not talk about at the end of this video. I'm going to give you one of the best trades in just a moment, but make sure you understand, guys, you should only paper trade this for proof of concept. This video is made for entertainment. These are our expectations. We're usually on point with these expectations, but things change, guys. Even the future, at all times, there's something like there's permutations. It's fractal science, my friends. There's always permutations. So my point is, you should only trade this information with the monthly access subscription, which you get on our website, Tarot for Traders. You go to our hover over order now, click on subscriptions. Monthly access subscription gets you everything early access has. The earliest access to any of our public posts that come out on YouTube come out first on our Discord channel. You get the day trade alerts and swing trade alerts for SPY, as well as the chart drawings on the live trading view charts. And then you get the day-by-day sequence of chart events, the timing of the highs and the lows for each month for SPY, BTC, XRP, Tesla, and NVIDIA, QUBT, and Solana. So, I mean, these are game-changing services. Subscribe here, $300 a month. You get that back in one trade, my friends, easily. We're not right all the time, but the real power of SOMETA is the times when we're wrong are so easy to come back from. Like, it's just, if you followed our Discord, then you know what I'm talking about. With that said, thank you to everybody that goes ahead and does that. Blessings to all our people with integrity, our angel investors, following through on that gentleman's agreement, that honor code agreement. Much love and appreciation. Blessings to all my angel investors. I'll see you guys on the next one. Oh, I think I gotta give you, did I give you the trade? All right, here's the trade. Here's the trade. Yeah, so there's this sharp drop here off of a peak around the cusp of the 5th, 6th, into a sideways rotation at a trough later in the day on the 6th. I would open up a long position, expect to close that long position around the 9th. If not on the 9th, you close out of it on the 10th. If not on the 10th, you close out of it on the 11th. I like having those multiple backups. It's a solid trade. But again, guys, get that monthly access subscription if you're going to attempt this stuff. Blessings. I'll see you guys on the next one.